I literally pictured myself as a squirrel. If you look at squirrels, they're just constantly like, where's the next nut? Where's the next nut? Where's the next nut? And that's really like the identity that I took on for a very long time. Yeah. Healthy or unhealthy, I don't know. But it got me to where I am now. Yeah. And I just became a collector of money.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And I love that you really did have that self-trust, because at being in like a cult religion, they don't exactly tell you like, trust yourself, like you're the one that you can rely on. It's not that way at all.
Hello, beautiful souls. You are going to love today's episode. If you want your story to sound like so many of the guests on this show, then you've probably realized that healing your relationship with money is a key piece of the puzzle. Don't worry, I've got you. Head to moneywoundquiz.com and answer 6 quick questions to learn which money wounds are blocking you. And I'll send you an email with a link to a money healing masterclass for free. No more waiting. Go take the quiz now.
Hello, welcome back to the M Makes Money show. You guys, today was Faye's last day of 2nd grade. Where has the time gone? I got a little misty-eyed, not gonna lie. There was like a little school assembly this morning where the principal spoke to each grade, and just like seeing the 5th graders getting promoted and knowing they're going off to middle school. Like, I don't even know any of the 5th graders at the school, and I was tearing up. There is a soft spot in my heart for all of these milestone moments and how much it means. And the 5th graders sang 50 Nifty United States. And I'm like, I still know the words to that now. And 30 some odd years later. And it's just wild to think that like they are learning things now that they will legitimately still remember into adulthood, and just all of these beautiful humans, and what an incredible experience they've had in elementary school, and how having this community and family surrounding them, like it just, the whole thing was hitting me right in the feels. I've got an amazing interview for you guys today. You are absolutely going to love Sabrina Victoria, who is the guest on the show. You're going to hear her talk about building a garbage picking empire, leaving a cult religion, being a single mom, leaving an abusive marriage, and building a really successful online business. It's one heck of a story. It was super inspiring to me as well. And I'm just so grateful that this show has allowed me to connect with so many amazing humans. And I just thank you. Thank you. So, Sabrina Victoria, we're talking struggling single mom, escaping a 13-year abusive relationship, and now she is the creator and CEO of Human Better 365, which is a human transformation company. She's the creator of Sober Society, Her Nation Communities, and she is the host of the Her Talk Show. You are going to love Sabrina, her story, her vibe, her authenticity. So without further ado, let us jump into the show. Hello, welcome back to the show. I am joined by Sabrina Victoria. Sabrina, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Anyone who's watching on YouTube can see that Sabrina's got like the pool in the background. She's in like vibey Boca Raton, living her best life. We've got Western girls that move to warmer places, chasing the sunshine.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I love going back to Michigan to visit, and really glad to not live there anymore. I've become soft on purpose.
Same.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm super excited to dive in and just learn more about you and your business. You have an incredible community that you've built of 1,700 women.
Yeah.
That are committed to being curious about doing better and humaning better. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that there's not enough emphasis on this fact that we're human. I think that there are people that are playing small. They're not living up to the potential of what they could be living up to. I remember probably 5 years ago, I heard that whole analogy of the sperm and the egg, and the sperm that won was the champion over like millions of sperm. That is how much of a champion we are. We like went through all of the things and the twists and the turns and the muck and the guck and we're running and we're running and we're running towards the egg. And the sperm that got to the egg was the motherfucking winner. You know what I mean? When I heard that, I was like, what are we doing? There's so many people that have so much potential and dreams and desires and things that they want to do, and they're just playing small. So everything that I do is just based around taking that word human and turning it into a verb and saying, why are we not humaning better?
Why do you think people aren't humaning better?
Limiting beliefs, society, family. When you grow up in a certain environment, you cap yourself off sometimes.
Yeah. And even just like the context that you just put this conversation into, what a miracle it is that we're here. We forget that and we can just go through the motions and just be phoning it in a little bit with life. So it is so nice to be surrounded by other people that help remind us like what a gift this one lifetime is. And sometimes I don't like saying, are we making the most of it? Because that can feel a little bit like lack. We've got this limited time and it's running out. And what are you doing with it? But there is the other side of it, which is just, it's a freaking miracle. And do you feel like you're taking full advantage of the miracle? Or in your heart of hearts and your truth of truths, is there something more that you'd love to be doing and you're just not?
Yeah. When I heard this whole toxic positivity that kind of came to Bay 4 or 5 years ago, I was a little disheartened by it because I think, yes, toxic positivity. And I think some people are using that as an excuse to not really give themselves an oomph up, to really pivot their world, to pivot their thinking, to rise. And I think that it's unfortunate that they're just hanging out in the valley and refusing to see life a little bit differently and start to climb that mountain.
Yeah. So have you always been an entrepreneur, or did you start with the community and then it turned into a full-time thing? I'm so curious.
That's an interesting question. I'm going to say yes, I have always been an entrepreneur. However, my journey didn't start until probably about 10 years ago. I'm going to be 41 in August. So a little bit about me. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. So I always say I've been knocking on doors, hawking, selling since I was 5. Hawking religion. And yeah, my parents were converted the old school way. Somebody literally came and knocked on their door for real. And our entire family converted into being a Jehovah's Witness. And everything was fine until I turned 20. I wound up getting pregnant mysteriously with no husband. And that was the turning point for my entire life. I lost everything in that moment within about 72 hours of me announcing I was pregnant and I was going to keep my baby. My entire family and my entire community, everything that I had ever known, it just dropped me like a hot potato. And I led a stereotypical single mom, just broke ass life. I was totally naive to how to function as an adult, function as a human. And I floundered around for a really long time as a single mom, digging in my couch cushions for 25 cents to put gas in my car, getting repo out of the parking lot, eviction notices on my apartment door every other month, in the bathroom every single night, crying my eyes out, wanting to commit suicide, but being too chicken to do it. And real thoughts of just not being nice to my baby, wanting to give him up, wanting to leave him at the fire station, wanting to throw him out the window. I'm dealing with postpartum. I'm dealing with all the things that go hand in hand with being a single mom and having no money and being totally hopeless. And I don't know, I did that for 2 years. I don't know how I did it. And then I met a guy, and that guy had money. And he also had a lot of red flags stapled all over his body. And I ignored all the red flags, just totally naive to the world and to men. And I fell for all the stuff. I quit my job. I started working for his company. I moved out of my place and moved in with him. And he's like, all you have to do is just take care of the house and we're going to build an empire together. And he didn't let me know that he was going to be paying me $200 a week to work 14 hours a day to build this empire together. Nothing was in my name. Again, just totally naive. And 8 years later, mental and emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and I have no money. So financial abuse. Everything was in his name, including my car, my phone, my computer, everything. But all I had was my clothes and my son. That's it at the end of the story. So one day I'm 8 years in, I'm living in a huge house. We have 5 houses, 12 cars, 0 debt. We have offices all over the place. I'm working my ass off and I'm miserable. I have no control. I have no power. I have no voice. I'm literally low key a prisoner. And I'm having a total just breakdown in the bathroom. And I pull out my phone. I always say, Google saved my life. I Googled, why is my boyfriend bullying me? Because I didn't know any other vernacular other than he's being a bully. He's mean.
Yeah.
And the whole world of just toxic relationships and narcissism and empathy and codependency just hit me right in the face. And not only did I recognize, yes, there's a whole lot wrong with him, but also there was a shit ton wrong with me. So I dove headfirst into personal development, learning how to human better. And I opened up 3 secret online businesses. I opened up a secret bank account. I started just working my ass off. I was getting 3 hours of sleep, running his businesses, my businesses, and trying to be low-key trophy wife and mother of the year. And over the course of 4 years, I saved 50 grand. I have no idea how I did that again. There were so many trials and tribulations that I went through in order to just get that money. And I felt like a millionaire. And just one random day, I left. I took my son, our clothes, and my bicycle. I left everything else behind. I started all over again with a mattress on the floor.
Wow.
And everything that I do now revolves around community. It's the one thing that I didn't have. I believe that the situation that I was in was so unnecessary for me to go through for as long as I did. And it was just a lack of community. It was a lack of being able to say, hey, Emily, I'm having this issue. What do you think? Just not having that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And isn't that one of the sort of red flags when you're in an abusive relationship as well, is that often the partner does try to disconnect you from anything that would be like community. Maybe you didn't have it anyway, so you were like the perfect target, I guess, so to speak, anyway.
Yeah. And that's what they go after. They go after people who are not connected. They go after people who don't have friends, who are missing mom and dad.
And desperate, like you needed money. And it's for that to be a sort of a tool of manipulation right away. You choose me, you get the money, except you don't really get it.
Yeah. It's all a facade. It got me to where I am. And I look back sometimes, and there was a long time where there was a lot of woe is me, a lot of victimhood stories in my past. And I look back now, and honestly, I'm so grateful for everything that I had gone through. It's a true testament of perseverance and resilience. And I would not be where I am now mentally, emotionally, financially, if it wasn't for that relationship or my entire story, actually.
Yeah, I believe that. And first of all, thank you for sharing that so openly, because it gives us so much just understanding of you and what you've been through. And I'm sure that everyone listening can relate to at least one piece of this. And I'm curious, I suspect that there were some limiting beliefs around money. I don't know, maybe that it's going to abandon me just like other people have just left one day, or that I can't make too much of it because I might be a bad person or manipulative person, since money was this tool of manipulation. Can you just share, like, what were some of the just weird stuff dancing around in your mind about money that you had to work through?
Yeah, all of that. One of the biggest things that I have come to realize is right around when I was probably 14 or 15 years old. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, like I said, and my sister and I were, and I'll never forget this. And it's so crazy because the person who said this probably doesn't even remember this moment, but it has stuck with me all of these years. But I was young with my sister, and I were watching like some music award show, and like Beyonce or Janet Jackson or somebody of that sort was on the TV dancing. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. And she was wearing this outfit, and I was like, I want an outfit like that or something like that. And my dad goes, that woman had to sell her soul to the devil to get to where she is. And I never forgot that. Yeah. And then you fast forward into my abusive relationship, and the money that came along with that. And I associated that man, without even recognizing the story at that time, I associated him as the devil. Like, low key in my head, I'm like, I'm literally living with the devil. It was that manipulative and that covert. And then fast forward, all of these thoughts around money is the devil. Money is connected to bad people. And then you topple that with the limiting beliefs that my abuser put on me, as far as that I can't do it on my own, and I'm incapable, and I have no college education, and I lived in the ghetto. I'm a single mom. No one's going to want me. And these thoughts of, or these actual words of, within 6 months of leaving me, you're going to end up living in the back of a dumpster in a cardboard box, having pennies to your name. Because I left with a good chunk of money, and he was just like, you're going to go through that so fast, you're never going to find a job, and you're going to be calling me in 6 months behind a dumpster. And really believing that so much so that while I'm working my business after I left him, I, for probably about 2 years, would leave my house at 10:30 every single night. And I live in Boca Raton, in a very upscale area. And I would garbage pick from 10:30 at night till 2 a.m, days a week. And I would do rounds in my little shitty van. And I would drive around and I'd pick up people's garbage for hours and hours. I'd go back to my house. I'd unload it all into the garage, and I'd go back out and I'd shove more stuff. And in the passenger seat, I'd strap it to the top. And then during the day, while my son was in school, I would list, I would meet people at my house. I was still building my online businesses. I was doing podcasting. And even though my business was paying the bills, right, barely, because I'm a new into the industry, I'm still figuring out my own stuff, still having that fear of lack, of not enough, of I'm going to lose, of I'm going to end up back with him, I'm going to have all this stuff. I didn't want that to happen. So I call it sourcing, my garbage picking was pulling me in consistently between $2,000 to $4,000 every single month. I was running it like an actual business out of my garage between OfferUp and eBay. And so I had my online clients that I'm coaching. At that point, I was doing narcissistic abuse. And then on the back end, I was becoming this like retail merchandiser of sorts.
Wow.
Flipping garbage. Yeah.
Wow. I'm just like in awe of your work ethic. And I suspect as you become more successful and like money has felt safer, that there probably was like some undoing of that.
Yeah.
Repatterning your nervous system that like it's okay to take a break and that it's safe to relax. Because it sounds like you were just like in go mode because it just felt like survival no matter what.
Yeah. Survival, and just not wanting to ever have to go back to that, not wanting to ever have to rely on somebody.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you called it right there, the limiting belief of people leaving.
Yeah.
So who can I trust? And I knew I could trust myself. Grant Cardone, I don't know if you follow him at all, but he said this one thing that stuck with me probably 8 years ago. I heard this, something of the sort of, you got to go all in on yourself. You have to trust your own ability to be able to work.
Yeah.
That's what I really did. When I heard that, it hit me so hard because I have work ethic. That's like the one thing that I have, right? It's like college degree, don't have that. Stability, don't have that. Moving from house to house and not knowing where my money's going to come from, and all of this stuff is just a constant feeling of instability. But the one thing that I do have is my ability to be able to count on myself and my own work ethic. And when he said that, like, yes, over and over again, and I went all in on myself and I joke, but like I became like a collector of money. But like, what do you collect? I motherfucking collect money. I literally pictured myself as a squirrel. If you look at squirrels, they're just constantly like, where's the next nut? Where's the next nut? Where's the next nut? And that's really like the identity that I took on for a very long time. Yeah. Healthy or unhealthy, I don't know. But it got me to where I am now. Yeah. And I just became a collector of money.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And I love that you really did have that self-trust, because being in like a cult religion, they don't exactly tell you like, trust yourself. Like you're the one that you can rely on. It's not that way at all. It's trust us, listen to us. If you have an inner voice that says something different, you're wrong and we're right. And then to be in a relationship with a narcissist, also not conducive for self-trust. So I love that there was just this part of you that was like, you know what? No matter what, like I've got my own back and I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a fabulous money collector.
Yes, girl.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay. So let's fast forward. Let's talk about this money collection. Like, where are you at now, girl? How's the money collection going?
You know what? One of the things that I talk about, I was just talking to my community about this last Monday. And one of the things I started doing back in 2017 is bi-weekly, no more than monthly, do I go without sitting down and counting all of my money. I don't think there's enough people, low-key women, doing that. So much so where literally everything. So I'll go through my nightstand, my clothes, anywhere, all the pennies. And I literally sit down and I write down all of the money in all of my bank accounts, all the money I have cash on hand, pennies included, all the money in gift cards, all the money in my stocks, my credit card, everything. Every single, never ever go more than a month since 2017. And just watching the money flow. 2020 hit me.
Yeah.
So there was a shallow little valley there that I went through also. But I was always cognizant of it. I was always aware of it, and really being able to track it. Has been the catalyst for how I've gotten as far as I've gotten. I'm always watching it.
Yeah.
We lose track of it. We don't even pay attention. We don't know what's going out. We don't know what's coming in.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily track as much how much is going out, because to me, it's my responsibility to make more. And if I'm getting to a point where there's a lull, it's not about what I'm spending. I'm very conservative in general, just naturally. I'm a very conservative person, probably because of my story. But to me, if there's a lull, then you have to make more, not save. That's my mentality.
Yeah. No, I love everything that you're saying. I do a lot of money healing work with my clients as well. And there are a pretty decent chunk of humans, especially women, that have an avoidant relationship with money. And so it's, just having some sort of relationship with it, having some sort of finger on the pulse, and then doing like the deep work to walk yourself through that, so that like there's a reason you're avoiding it. It's because you feel the pit in your stomach, or you feel your nervous system reacting in some way. And those are just clues actually for us to recognize like where and why it's feeling unsafe, and create some new tools so that we can be in this safe relationship with money. So I think that's really beautiful. And just for context and also transparency, which is one of the kind of tenets of this show, how much money do you make now?
Just under 6 figures. I haven't hit 6 yet.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Like just knowing where you came from and where you're at. And I don't follow all the statistics anymore to know what percentage of women are even making 6 figures. To be close, like you've got to at least be top 25% probably of
I think it's
wide income earners.
I think the last statistic that I saw was 32%. 32%. I don't know if that's comparing men and women, but I saw something with 32% of women make over 6 figures. But I don't know if that was in comparison to men or comparison to women. So I probably shouldn't even.
Yeah, I don't know either. To me, like that sounds a little
not enough.
It sounds high, but not high in terms, of course, we want it to be more, but just who knows? Maybe we'll look it up. I'll report back on the next show. But that's awesome. And I always find like the milestone numbers are interesting because we usually make a lot of meaning out of them.
Believe me,
good and bad, but
I almost hit it last year. No, I was closer last year, but the first time I got close to it was 2021 and got closer to it 2022. But 2021 was a big deal for me because I was 90,000 and I couldn't even, I called my mom. It was such a big deal. Yeah, it was such a big deal.
I love that. And I love that you're like talking about that with family. And I guess that you have a relationship with your mom, because I know a lot of people who have left Jehovah's Witness and like still don't talk to their family, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a thing.
We'll get back to the episode in just a second, but this is too good not to share. Did you know that when you leave a review for the podcast and then send it to hi@emilywilcox.com, you get a free month of Wealthy and Woo Club? This is my membership that takes you on a journey to building the bank account of your dreams. Doesn't matter your occupation or gender. If you're someone who wants more money in your personal bank account, Wealthy and Woo Club is where it's at. Just write a review for the show to get your first month free, or join directly via the link in the show notes for just $7 per month.
Hoping 2022 would be the kicker, but nope.
So maybe 2023. Yeah.
We'll see.
But I can tell you're enjoying the journey. And to me, that's one of the most important things, because we can hit the financial milestone and hate our lives, as you've experienced. Like, you had the money, you had the multiple houses, you had the cars, you had the whole thing, and looked good on paper, but it wasn't so enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I talk about that often. If it was about the money, I would have just stayed where I am. There's plenty of people that stay in abusive relationships. Yeah. I could have totally just turned myself off and been a robot and lived a really stable life.
Yeah.
With no money issues. We didn't have money issues.
I love that you chose the other path and that you're humaning better, because you're better for it. I've no doubt that your kiddo is seeing a whole new life modeled, and these 1,700 women that are in your community are better for it as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my son is stepping into entrepreneurship himself. He's 19.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
He's got his website up and he talks to clients and he's networking and getting on the phones and selling. So
I love that. I think kids have so many resources available to them now, and they don't have the same limitations. Like when we were growing up, I don't know, I feel like when the career fair sort of a thing, like it felt like you had 5 choices. Yeah. You can be a teacher or a doctor and it was like an
airline stewardess.
Yeah. It really felt like you were choosing from one hand worth of choices. And now kids are like, oh yeah, I know so-and-so who's a millionaire on YouTube by playing video games and recording himself doing it. And you truly can make money doing absolutely anything.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that the younger generations are starting to figure that out and how to monetize their passion and just go for it and use technology and like leverage social media and all of these ways to just build a business, build net worth much more quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that I talk about is, as far as lack and individuals that kind of sit in that mindset, is the stretching your ability to recognize the difference between 6 figures, 7 figures, and 8 figures. It's just funny because they put them together.
Yeah.
And they're like not even close together. And because it's like a 6, 7, 8, I think that sometimes gets in our head as far as lack. Because if somebody's making 6, then how am I supposed to be able to make 6 or 7? But the ridiculousness of gap in between the 6 and the 7, and then the 7 and the 8 is stupid. Like you can't even comprehend it. Is one thing that I talk to my son a lot about. Is there's enough. There's so much. There's so many people, and there's so much money. It's out there. It's out there, and people love to spend money. People love to spend it. That was one thing that I recognized when I was doing my sourcing, selling garbage, is people love to spend money. If you'd give me a second, I love to tell this story about how I made so much money, because people are like $2,000 to $4,000. That is such an exaggeration.
Let's hear it.
I would post on OfferUp, but I would only post the big stuff. So I would sometimes I'd pull like entire patio sets, like a table or chairs. And I'd post something like this for a low price. So like maybe this would normally go for $500 at Home Depot. I would price it for $100. Still in really good condition. They just threw it out because it's got a little rust on it. And so I would post it for 150. They'd bring me down to 100. They show up. But what I would do is I'd open up my entire garage filled with shit that I didn't post, but that was right. So somebody would come and they'd be like, okay, $100 for this. And my goal when they were at my house was not to make the most amount of money per object. My goal was to get the most amount of money from them, because everything costed me $0. It was just time, or it was energy, and it was gas. That was it. And pre-COVID, gas was reasonable.
Yeah.
Isn't like it is now. The goal was just anything that I saw that caught their eye. Anything. Yeah. So I just saw them looking at anything. I would just be like, how much do you want it for? And they'd be, and I would lowball them to the point where they would be insane if they did not.
Right.
Because it was just such a low price. So someone would come to pay $5 for a lamp or $15 for a nightstand, and they would wind up leaving with an entire car full of shit for their apartment. And I'd walk away with $80 or $100 more than what they originally were coming from, as I could flip my merchandise every single night. Every night I was going out and getting more. So it was just like, I need to empty out my entire garage. Yeah. Just get dollars, fives, tens, 15s from people, because they're buying awesome things for nothing. And it's all because people love spending money.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with this story. Like, the human psychology of it is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. There was this one story that I love to tell about this Haitian woman that we argued. She came to pick up one bag of clothes for $30. And so Haitians down here in Florida, they flip. So they send it to Haiti, and they have shops in Haiti. So they buy from us and then they flip it over there. So she came to buy $30. I opened up my garage, same as I always did. And she's like in heaven. She just starts pulling stuff off the shelves. The pile was like an enormous pile of stuff. And I always ask them first. I say, what do you want? Because you always let them first. And she's like, $50. She came for a $30 bag. She added like 10 times more to it. She was $50. And I go, that was a really good try. $500 is what I came back with. And she's, oh no. Anyways, it was an hour negotiation. This is what people don't do. This is what white people don't do. It was an hour negotiation back and forth. She was getting mad. She was like putting stuff back, then taking stuff back, then putting stuff back on shelves, then putting stuff back on the pile. We ended up at $350 for that. It was 2 or 3 car trips. She had to go back and forth, shoving stuff into her car. That's how much stuff she bought for $350. But then she came back like 12 more times.
Wow.
Over the course of a year, sometimes bringing friends and family with her. I made thousands of dollars off of this woman.
Yeah.
Just by being a negotiator, recognizing what she was doing. She had to make money too.
Right.
So there's like a silent agreement of, you need to make money. I get that. But also I need to make money.
Right.
It's that silent agreement between two people. But it goes to show that she knew I was giving her a good deal.
Yeah, totally. So I just got back from Egypt, and the negotiation culture there is very strong as well. And it is really fascinating, and especially coming from being raised in the United States, where it's like, we don't really negotiate. And if we do, it's every once in a while, and it's only on certain kinds of things. And there's just a lot more identity, I think, wrapped up in it. So it's like fascinating to be in a culture where our Egyptologist kept telling us, just tell them your price. Like, you will not offend them.
Now,
and we started out thinking we were getting a good deal if we got 50% off whatever the first price was that they told us. And then as we got further into the trip, it's like, no, you got to get 80% off. Like they were just starting sky high.
Yeah.
And I was like, good for them. Right.
Yeah. Totally. 100. But I think that's one of the issues. It's just the lack of, everything is negotiable. People don't know that. Everything, you can have a bargain with anybody. You can negotiate with anybody. And the getting offended or not getting offended is stupid.
Yeah.
Money is money is money.
Yeah. And as you're sharing all of this now, when you're talking about like really counting your money and having this tactile relationship with it, like I'm really seeing how all of the pieces of your story weave together, because you were running a very cash-based business where there was just really a lot of your assets were tangible in hand, in cash. And so of course, like it still feels important for you to be collecting all of the cash in your house and the quarters out of the couch cushions and like accounting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I noticed on your LinkedIn profile that like for the first, I don't know if it's just for the first 30 days or if this is your ongoing rate, but it's $5 for a month in your community. And I feel like that is that same psychology where you're like, I want people to feel like it would be stupid for them to not take this deal.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. 100%. And then low key, right? Low key brag. I'm awesome. Once they're in there, and the women that are within my community are just unbelievable and they get it, right? The concepts that I am teaching within the community as far as networking, and I run a give-get method of this concept of it's not about give, take. It's about give, get. Because if you give, you will automatically get. You don't have to ask. Yeah. And that's really what I have used throughout my journey, just in general, is just showing up at 100%, giving back to my people, to my community, to my universe consistently. And then what has happened just automatically, because of the give and the law of reciprocity, which all humans have the law of reciprocity within them, is just an automatic cycle of get.
Yeah.
And when you're constantly sitting in a space of, when I'm talking to Emily, who can I connect her with? How can I help her? What can I give to her? How can I make her better? It will automatically come back, not necessarily from Emily, but from somebody who hears this, somebody who sees this, somebody who Emily knows, who's then referred back, will be the get. And that's what I really teach the community, is the working together as a team in order to rise. So I really see us as I don't know if you have this, but like down here in Florida, we have this area, it's Delray Beach. So like Atlantic Avenue. And there's all these shops down Atlantic Avenue. And whether you want to agree with it or not, they all have a silent agreement with each other. So Starbucks is there. Starbucks has a silent agreement with all of these stores, whether they want to acknowledge it or not, that Starbucks is going to get people in their store.
Yeah.
And while Starbucks is doing all the things to get people in their store, and they're running their deals and their specials and their Christmas lattes and their pumpkin spice or whatever, they're putting people on the street.
Yep.
For all the other businesses to be able to shop. And the purse store is doing the same thing. The purse store is running their deals in order to get people into their shop, so that once they're done there, they see the Starbucks across the way, and then they buy money in Starbucks. And this is beautiful cycle. Yeah. And that's what I'm really teaching the community. So yes, we don't have a storefront, but it's the same exact concept of when they're here, you give, and the cycle will just continue and you will get.
Yeah. I love what you're teaching, and I love the way you're teaching it. And I just want to reinforce one of the key things that I feel like gets missed is that law of reciprocity is true, and you don't have to receive from the person that you're giving to. In fact, you normally won't.
Yes.
You normally will not. And I think that's where we make it funky, because we feel like, I gave so much to that person, and what have they done for me? And it doesn't matter what that individual has done from you, because law of reciprocity is about energy, and it's universal, and it's more about you and God and you and universe and you as part of this ecosystem than it is you and another person.
Yep. Yeah. And to add to that, I love it. I agree. If you are concentrating on one person and whether or not that person gave back to you, you don't have enough people in your community.
Yeah.
There should be so many people in and amongst your network that you don't even freaking know who you're giving to or who's getting or where you're getting from. That is how robust it needs to be. Mm-hmm. That is how wide and thick your pipeline needs to be. And if you're concentrated on those one or two people, girl.
Yeah. Totally. What you're saying is, to me, the embodiment of the shift from lack mindset to abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Whenever we're focusing on the one person and getting clingy around it, that is lack mindset. Yeah. I need this one person to do something. And it's no.
Yeah.
No, think bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. And trust.
Yeah. Okay. I selfishly want to ask you a question because I just launched 2 memberships and I've never had a membership before. What do you think are some of the keys to success within your very robust membership?
Number one rule on my side is it's not mine. It's ours.
Love that.
Although you will every once in a while hear me say thank you for a compliment on it or whatever. Yeah. It always goes back to, it has absolutely nothing to do with me because yes. And if the women didn't trust me, if the women didn't believe, if the women didn't care, they would never join. And if they didn't join, then I would have nothing. So I always speak in we's. I always speak in us, and it's ours. And I really think that is what has catapulted us to where we are, is me reinforcing that, them seeing it through my actions, and believing, learning to trust, falling into that trust, and getting other women to hang on.
Yeah. I love that.
People want to be a part of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And it speaks to just like the strength of the fabric of your community, that it is clearly part of the ethos for you. So thank you for sharing that. For anyone who wants to connect with you, learn more about your story, maybe join your community, all that kind of stuff, where can they find you?
My main website is Sabrina Victoria, just my name, sabrinavictoria.com. You can find my community, Her Nation in there, and all of my social media.
Wonderful. Sabrina, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story. Do you have any last parting words of wisdom?
Everything's going to be okay.
Amen.
I think sometimes we get a little anxiety filled when we're living in lack, and especially since your platform here is money based, I'm assuming that people come to you because they're feeling that. So yes, connect with individuals like Emily, and everything's going to be okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sabrina. Thank you so much to everyone listening, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, I hope you all loved that as much as I did. And definitely tag Sabrina at Sabrina Victoria TV on Instagram. Tag me at @MakesMoney. Let us know that you listened and let us know what your key takeaways were. Here are mine. Number 1, you can always rise from the ashes of any situation and choose to find the silver lining. Find the part that made you who you are, even if you would never, ever want to repeat those circumstances. Number 2, we can build epic skill sets from less than ideal circumstances and from straight up trauma responses. It's like that work ethic came from a trauma response, and yet it's serving her so well in her business. And I look at being an Enneagram 3, where it's all about achievement and figuring out what other people want from you and doing that. And it's like, that is a total like survival skill response. And there's the bad side of it, which is just straight up people pleasing. But in a way, it's good that I can read people and figure out what they want from me and what their desires are. Like, that is a good skill to have. Takeaway number 3, law of reciprocity, baby. When we understand that and we understand the energetics behind that, everything changes. Takeaway number 4, if you are focused on one person, you are not thinking big enough. So shifting from lack mindset to abundance mindset, and making sure that if you're a business owner, that you are strategically building your business to where your pipeline is robust enough that you are not focused on the one person. And takeaway number 5, how can you be a better human? How can you human better? I love that inquiry that Sabrina brought forward, humaning better. And it's just a nice invitation for all of us, like not from a place of you're wrong or you're not doing enough, but just genuinely being curious for ourselves. How can we human better? So thank you as always for tuning into the show, and I will talk to you again next week. Listeners like you have made this a top 25% global podcast. So thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with someone you love. I always appreciate listener feedback, so feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram at mmakesmoney as well. And if you want to explore hiring me as your money healer and business mentor, check the links in the show notes to explore, or head to explore.emilywilcox.com. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.